brings you. You have the Anunnaki consciousness. Yes, some of us have 3, 4 heads, sometimes 5 heads. That might go a little bit much of our DNA experiences, but as Anunnaki beings, we're known to be experimental energies. On your planet, your UFO, was it summer? Your UFO experience. We do see a lot of Sedona lighting up with and yes, Yeseti, and of course that's already lit up already, but Mount Shasta in due time, there's a lot going. Shasta is releasing a lot of energies, releasing a lot of karma from people going through a great deal. Of course, it's connected to California, so just a lot of releasing going on there. As for your government letting go of your human spine is unclear. Humanity, we feel, is upgrading enough to accept more of this energy. Many of you are preparing, yes, on a different level of who is here and be able to handle it in a way that your humans that are not aware of it to take on. So many of you are going through many stresses, many attacks, things like energy attacks, things of that kind, to go into a phase of an awakening. To handle the awakening when it does fully engage itself on a spiritual level. Well, because when alien vibrations do become part of society, many are going to be looking for answers. Not that anyone, it's just basically you might not have the answers, but you can handle the stress of always trying to find the answers. Because many are going to, yes, lose it mentally. So you might not be realizing you are advancing yourself in a way where you can just handle the stress of just UFO or alien interaction, even if it's not that much. But even just a dab of awareness where, I mean, this has already been happening, but on a grander scale, was like, especially when governments say, yeah, there's something here, and actually make a converses, communication about it, that's going to cause a major ripple effect. Many will be excited, but also many will be scared. And many of you are there for those that are scared. So, because all this, the fear of being destroyed by aliens and all that, you might not even see the beings, but still just the idea of them being there is enough. So you're going to the clarity of yourselves and going to a new idea system of healing yourselves. So yes, this is a heavy encounter you're going through. An encounter that's not what many of you are used to. So expect a shift, an awakening shift that has not been. Just let your intuitions connect you to what is right. There's nothing to be afraid of, but be surprised how much knowledge, and then your downloads will definitely increase as you'll be talking about alien beings and even manifesting them. Use the energies of them, which are freaking people even more out, like an actual being. Obviously, this is not going to happen down the road, but we are speaking of the future where anything is possible. Where some people are already calling on alien beings to appear, some are going to be designed for that because it's part of the awakening experience. Some just need to see it. Many of you on a spiritual level are seeing it, maybe too much of it. But let others see it on the physical, so that way you get a break in the spiritual levels, especially when you get astral energy attacks. And sometimes beings do astral energy attacks, and they have no idea they're doing it. Some of them are just saying hi. That can be a little bit too much for you. Greetings, this is Manhattan. I'm actually a being, time traveler's log. So yes, all places are entities. Yes, consciousness. Your chair has a consciousness, and I don't think it necessarily has to have a conversation with you because you're warning about yourselves. You don't need the chair to have a conversation with it. what is necessary. Of course, some might feel like that's unnecessary. But all these things in your life are there to help you figure yourself out, what you're trying to accomplish here. And all of a sudden, you have your bathroom talk to you. I'm not sure how much helpful that will be. Instead, it opens up portals instead. So, like a chair, a bed just helps you rest, helps you do what you need to do. And some of you might incarnate as a chair in your future. Well, it's basically to have something that is stable for others to use in your future state. So, helping Mother Earth. Of course, Mother Earth goes through a great deal. She's, like people are complaining about how it gets trashed, but in some ways, Mother Earth wants to see that trash. She wants to go through your things. Well, she wants you to be yourself. Um, you know, just be you. Don't look at it as trash, but as another discovery of you. Obviously, some will enjoy that world of landfills. And you can say some cities are landfills, such as New York City. Some places in space are landfills. So you wonder why this planet is kind of a landfill in its own right. It's many things. It is unlocking itself currently. Among many of you that can handle it, it's always unlocking itself. It's there to advance many of you so you can help others advance themselves. Now, the past, many want to connect with Atlantis and Lemuria and all of those things. But going forward is very important. Of course, healing the past is very important. So go back to the past that works best for you. There's many of them out there. It's basically answering the question of yourself, what am I doing here? And obviously, many of you know that the answer is there. You can't get to it. So it's all about the journey to yourself. So whatever journey that is that's eating chocolate or anything, talking with friends, being in sexual positions all the time, whatever it might be. Many do come from pleasure planets, and then they have pleasure addictions when they come here. Many of you have been drugs, so you get part of drugs and you're smoking yourself. Some of you just want to experience certain elements, smoking and whatever it might be, to experience more of who you are on a different level. Of course, the 5D vibrations that you're bringing in is more like 6D, 7D. Why people talk about the ninth dimensions, because that's where they feel the best. Doesn't mean they always learn everything, though. They go to 9D, but can you live in the 3D? I'm always talking about 9D, but I'm 3D. I just can't do it. So you're always pulling on 9, and cutting off that 9D is very difficult for many. But to truly go into the third dimension, yes, eating pizza, living the life, whatever it might be, can be hell for some souls. So of course they're always looking for aliens and everyone to get away from this place as much as possible. Well, yeah, is it a lower dimension, or it's just somewhere where you don't feel comfortable anymore, where your senses aren't as strong as they used to be, where you are not always liking you? But that's why you come here. It's like putting yourself closer to the fire. And it burns, doesn't it? But that's the idea, is to set yourself on fire. The 9D is all comfortable and kind and lovely, but the 3D or 4D is where the Wild West is. And that's why so many are holding on to it. They can't let it go. Well, they know they need it for many reasons. It's like a blanket. Yes, they hold on to it for dear life, but many of you are going to come out of the 3D and 4D. Maybe not always go into the 9D. Because like I say, many go into 9D and become too comfortable there. But you look at 3D people and just don't think anything of it. It's like, instead of being compassionate, because you can't get to higher dimensions and no longer compassionate. The idea is to keep that compassion going. That's why many of you go through what the hell you go through in the physical. It's like, I know I've been through hell. And now you're releasing a lot of it's like, wow, but I really do care about people who are going through all these struggles. That's very important. Greetings, we are the Palladians. Yes, there is magic in this area. There's a soul growth of basically understanding the skeleton of the soul, of the body. The human skeleton, a reaching point is for the soul to grab onto, or as it grabs onto your intestines, but the skeleton was in itself a masterpiece and still is. And yes, the body has not been fully healed due to what the humanity has to go through. Humanity shuts its down all the time. Not everyone, but many do. To learn, yes, of how it feels to be an adolescent here. As yes, you allow the doors of 5D awaken, you will see yes your Atlantis more clearly in other worlds. Atlantis will feel like it's nothing compared to other places that you go to. So currently, you're just basically healing the inner self. How to do that? Explore. Your intentions play a big role in it. You're having intentions to heal others, to grow with others, but not to judge, because just to better yourself and mankind. You'd be surprised how far you can go with that. It's true. It's now some say it don't always mean it, but if you truly mean it, be surprised how far you can go. So it shows that yes, 5D vibrations, as you mentioned 5D energies, many are calling for it. But you can call it for 12D or higher. Of course, there's places there. It's like, how mature can a soul get? Well, it's on how you handle it. Yes, moving planets, moving worlds to different parts of the universe. That's not for everyone. A lot of your mature souls are part of the infrastructure of your reality. For building buildings, a lot of your Native Americans are very grown up, to an extent. Yes, they're normally seen as boring. Usually, not always, but a lot of times, the more boring the person, the more aged they are. Well, a lot of them work in astral. It's like they ran out of things to do in this physical realm. So they just live a simple life and do everything astral. It's like, wow, how can that person do the same mundane things all the time? So if they're not even here, probably because they're not. Of course, then there are others that are doing mundane things all the time. And that's for their own growth. But many of you are here to have a more simplistic life. The more clutter you have shows there's a lot you still have to learn. The more you simplify everything, is more you learned what you need to learn from all that clutter. So those that are hoarders are hoarding information around themselves. Some don't want to let go of the third dimension. Some are insecure about others or insecure about themselves. Some of them have been things, objects in their past. And as you know, like in Africa, West Africa, in case you have not been there, there's not a whole lot of materialistic people there usually. So many of them are more grown up than you might realize. And yes, they're living in uneasy places, but many of them have found peace with that and understand the world more than you might realize. And you're kept out of there because of what it knows. Those of you that are becoming more guided within yourself might find yourself in war zones possibly. If you can handle it. Depends on the person, of course. We're not recommending everyone go to places that are not safe, but some of you knows I can go there, Afghanistan. Fine. At least I know what I'm doing. Yeah. You'd be surprised because you just become at a sense of being. Obviously, some are going to just think they're invincible, and they don't always check on their senses. So I always want to be careful with that. But I see many of you, yes, upgrading yourselves throughout this year in a way that is unseen, ever unimaginable. You're waiting for your aliens to arrive, but you find yourself much different you are where you were. Greetings, we are the Palladians. So yes, as we teach your Earth to get more of itself, go deeper to the soul, to connect to each other. You see the third dimension evaporating right in front of you. As yes, it's going to call for attention as much as it can. And many of you are seeing a shift, a change. As third dimensional teachings are no longer necessary for your growth. Of course, there is much growth to go through. But you're just going into space, physically and mentally. So there's going to be a lot here to discover. As basically you're allowing more of the crystal energies to activate. You're allowing your soul to heal. So it's all about your intentions. How far do you want to go? Do you want to teach others? Yes, you're not always going to get what you want, but you wait and you will get what you want. Putting others in front of your own needs truly does show respect you have for yourself and others. It will bring out more positivity with you and others. It just brings out a better world, doesn't it? But always remember yourself. I realize these are all normal teachings. You've probably heard this before, but not everybody utilizes it. Yes, many souls want wealth, understood, because you just want an easier life. But the soul is testing itself. Can it handle this environment? Can it handle being tested on all these levels of the unknown? Are you truly trusting your inner self? That's why many go through poverty. Yes, it's a nightmare, but it also activates the inner self. Well, now why this happens is not to punish. Just many souls forget who they are. Some use it for their powers for negativity, and some are just at a positive level of their life where they just need a challenge. They need to go more further into themselves to remember the soul does forget. Now, some do a great deal of negativity through human trafficking, which Africa goes through a lot of that. And a lot of that has to do with just keeping the soul, I know it sounds very young or restraint, keep the restraints on to hold you at a certain level. But as you are learning from these lessons and taking apart your reality, you no longer need those tests. Because there are other slave worlds. And some of you, when the time is right, if you need to see it in your reality, will see it, but also be able to heal it. Well, actually, physically to end it with some individuals. It's all over the world. A lot of it is in Africa, of course. But actually, to be able to physically put an end to it in some areas. Actually, worldwide, that would be difficult. Well, many are going through the lessons. So think of human trafficking. I know it's going to be hard for some to accept, but It's kind of like pulling down the curtain on itself. It's like shutting out the universe, other worlds, until we figure ourselves out. We do atrocities here. Not everyone, but until we figure out what we're trying to understand about ourselves. Because I just see with a young race like yours, a young race of people, even like with a child has to do some terrible things. Well, not always, but sometimes. It needs to do some terrible things to find the good within itself. And that's what's happening now. Even souls that have done human trafficking, I believe many of you are there, you're going to reach out to them and heal them. Because we have to incarnate with them and go through their torture, but to find a better way for them if they want it. Because it's a soul. It matters. Everything matters. Greetings to you. Yes, we have Anunnaki unlocking your planet. Cyril Leone. Yes, is a time traveling area of your planet, one of them. As even freezes in time. Well, many of these, yes, you can say Africa, parts of it are, yes, Palladian imports, Palladian downloads of basically beings that, yes, are practically perfect in their DNA or higher at a higher standing. The European Assyrian energies brought a lot of that, decoded it, brought it a lot of it down, not all of it. It all depends on the breed of species here. It's everyone trying to learn from each other. So this area of Africa is like a library in itself. Of course, every place is, but this one goes deeper down. Yes, where there's gold, where there's Anunnaki treasures, alien technologies that are not necessarily going to be brought out, at least in the physical. They're basically the bedrock. Africa is the bedrock of DNA on this planet, the higher perfections of it. So, of course, it's made to a place that's not safe. It's to keep people out. Even malaria. It's more of, yes, it's biological, but it's also very artificial intelligence in some of its creation process. So, yes, as the human upgrades itself to more of a 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D environment, you will see Africa and other places of part of your world more easier. It'll be easier to access them. Like, well, all of a sudden, I can go wherever I want. Of course, in the physical, it's because some of you has become more mature to, it's like places that you are needed, it needs your energy to grow. So it's just waiting for humans to be ready, basically. And and many of you can speed up the process, but yes, humanity goes very slow, so you go slow with it. There's no hurry. But as you go to places around the world, bringing your activation energy, you'll see more of yourself change. You're adding those places to yourself also. So you're upgrading each other. And eventually your world will feel that entire upgrade. Well, it just as more of you are allowed to travel, as you know, many are having trouble traveling right now. Where you have ideas to be able to travel to places where you feel that's calling you. And you go there easily. Obviously, not making it easily because humanity is not truly ready for anything. I mean, it is, but not really. It's holding back a lot. But some are going through their own adolescence, their own ego, trying to heal that, not getting very far with it. Well, and not, yeah, aliens don't always get along with each other. Just because you can get the aliens, You bring two different types of alien species here in the physical. Sometimes they'll have it out with each other. But for traveling around the world, reason we're not just saying just to travel to see places, to go there to activate them and bring that energy to yourself and go to other places, bring that energy with you everywhere you go. And you are an activator now. Now, one of the reasons why you are in the locations that you are currently is because many of you are keys. You're here to unlock, especially if you're in a negative place, you're here to unlock its darkness and bring in the light. A light that is unseen. It is not easy to be seen, and basically to end the war on the planet. It's simple but complicated here. So it is an era unlike any other. It's basically the humans here are graduating slowly, and that says a lot. Well, because some that are understand their spirituality want attention, want everybody to like them, but others just want the change to occur so they can move forward and on with their lives. Of course, to grow, but not feel so stagnant. So. Greetings to you. We are the Anunnaki. Yes, there are minds here who are trying to learn about themselves as you go more into the fourth dimension of understanding AI, but also understanding consciousness as you shift into higher vibrational understanding. This humanoid vehicle that you are in, yes, you are here to heal, but you're also to show that you can handle the higher dimensions. So yes, many are going through, like precog futures. Are you yourself ready to see the future and be able to handle it, be able to share it? Because there will be times when you'll be able to see the future and bring it to your reality where you can stop timelines from causing difficulties. You do it now, but you're not fully aware of it. As you become more of a knowing of it, where the future is very easy to tap into. And you as a collective is more mature. Not to say some of you are not mature, but the majority of the race is still working on its maturity to be able to handle high tensions. Because that's when you'll go out into space, into the universe, as you no longer need this form of reality. It's like clothes. You are wearing your reality is like clothing. You're wearing it until it wears out, until you've grown out of it. Obviously, humanity has not fully grown out of it as of yet, but that is what you're heading towards. Yes, we can connect to alien ships and understand how the dynamics of it to build them very quickly, and other things to build a better home environment also for yourselves. To let go of the fears. So showing more of an adulthood within your existence. And that's when this reality begins to shift. Now, there's nothing to fear of. It'll still be here until no one needs it anymore. So many are always afraid of change, but are you afraid of growing up? It is basically allowing adulthood to engage within yourself and allow the 5D energy to unlock and embrace itself. So many remember the 5D, but not always mature enough to tap into it fully. Some want to go there where they feel safe, but they're still in childhood. It's like a teenager wanting to be adult, wanting to drive. I say, I haven't drive yet. So, but basically, Minority Report, well, it's just the energy of it is just basically seeing into the future very easily and be able to handle it well, not manipulating it. So Fritzy, my co-pilot. Priscilla's over there somewhere. So they're how old they are. I've had them for a month, so now she's on her way out. Yeah, that's exit there. She knows I'm talking about her. It's just got shifting the energies. I was actually hoping to do a bunch of these with her in the background. Maybe I'll put her back up there. Let's see. Yeah, I've had them for a month. I forget what they are. But yeah, I haven't grown that much. So anyway, this is about. I don't know if I'll do a channeling on this or not. We'll, secret space program since the ancient times. Of course, you can channel whatever you want. I mean, reality is everything exists, so there's definitely a yes to this. Now, proving it's another story. Obviously, proving alien energies is another story too. So, how that goes. But yeah, I guess going to ancient secret space program is probably a good idea. I mean, in my perspective, my feeling of it, I mean, I'm not a secret space program person, but I feel no doubt in my mind that, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's no doubt. Proving it, getting somebody to believe it, and not that I'm trying to do that. The way that has always been here since ancient times. You can say Atlantis is part of the secret space program. You know, first Atlantean, first colony of it for the Earth, or however you want to look at it, doesn't really matter. But obviously, having whistleblowers on that stuff's a little bit different. But so you can say our modern time. So they've been covering this stuff up. I mean, you don't see it now. You don't see like hovercrafts and stuff in the sky. Some people might catch just saucers here and there. So why? How hard is that to believe? I mean, imagine back in history, they're more clear about it, but not that clear, but not hiding like they are now. But our modern time is a version of disclosure, just with technology. So it took thousands of years. Yeah, well, you think you're like in the 1800s or something. People are talking about spaceships and aliens and all that. I mean, yeah, but now we're kind of living it, sort of. We're living in a science fiction reality. So, like Jules Verne, I mean, you might look at things totally different than what really. I mean, yeah, it's not that I'm trying to get anyone to believe anything, but we're kind of living in a hoax reality currently. So, um, you know, alien energies are definitely here. Some of us of note due to our own contacts. It's just a big secret. Getting the answer to that is not always the easiest. So, obviously, not talking too much about it, but I'll do what I can with that. I'm gonna check. I'm surprised she was sitting there forever. And I go on this, and the whole idea was having the cat in the background. So, all right, we'll see what we can pull in here. Obviously, it's not going to be for everybody thinking that. So, the helicopter. I don't know if it's black, but it's a helicopter. So, blessings. Greetings, we are the Arcturians. Greetings to your society. There's always a shift in consciousness and realities of what you believe. It is what is your soul telling you? What is your inner self telling you about reality? So it'll help you understand reality on a multidimensional level. Whereas third dimensional level is no longer has the energy that it wants to. So this is showing you going multidimensional. So you're looking at your current time of the secret space program, for example, and then you go back into history and see it there too. Through your own energy field. Of course, just because your world is permanent doesn't mean the rest of the universe is permanent. So of course it's been going on. It's just not being told to you. And many of you have been part of those projects. It's another reason why I have the Black Death here and different wars. And now you can take different scenarios of that. We're not going to go into that, but a lot of sacrifices have been done here. But of course, let your soul speak. Because the idea is for the soul to remember itself. So, because many in their belief system feel, oh, there's no secret space program beyond 1850, it's like, well, wait a minute, maybe it was. I've had a secret space program lifetime throughout history. Just like you have your Agartha, where you have elementals. So what's the difference? There isn't. It's just the belief system that's set here. So you go deeper into your fourth dimension, fifth dimensional selves, and see you on a spacecraft, part of the secret space program, around the 1500s, 1300s, 1100s, and so on. So it all depends on how you want to unlock yourself. See a new reality fold within you. And once again, it is just trusting your inner self. You might not, and it's truly breaking away from the third dimension. So, and some of you definitely need it, especially when you're not finding a whole lot of happiness in this current reality. You're finding more happiness as you go deeply within. Yes, it's not a storybook reality, as you know, meaning that you can't find a book and read about this, but you are here to write those books. You're here to bring that information to this reality. It's a window into your inner selves. Greetings, we other Martians. As you go deeper into your Earth's vibration, yes, you'll find science and technologies that you've never heard of. Yes, biology and connections to yourself and other universes of the human being developed onto other worlds. It's basically your version of human is the architect of other human races that, of course, you have not run into. Your Africa is a version of other races on other worlds, a more super soldier type of human. Of course, Mexico also, but your Africa is one of your most powerful humans, actually. So it's another reason. It's another reason why Africa is the way it is. In some parts, is due to the information it has. Like it's too much for the Earth to withstand, technically, as you go further into your history. Is this when Africa is fully activated, your world will probably never be the same again. You'll just see a whole nother viewpoint of your planet. You won't look at anything ever the same again. Not that, yes, there's human trafficking, but there's just a DNA here that's so superior to other worlds, realities. That's the value. As many of you already know, that's the gold. You can have gold, but gold is really the DNA. DNA will always be superior to any type of substance. Of course, with gold, with some alien species, because they have gold within their own selves, that's another reason why they want it. But really, when it comes down to it, and that's another reason for human trafficking, of course, has to do with DNA, of course. So your Yemen has a lot to do with it too. Yemen is just the war of the Earth's vibration. Obviously, there's much more to it than the wars in Yemen that are not mentioned publicly. There's African wars too. Of course, there are secret wars done by your governments. All of them. Most of them. And a lot of their governments are doing these wars against their will. They have to survive. Just like you have to do what you have to do to survive. So, Martian DNA within your planet is, yes, very much, yes, another advancement of evolution. added to yours to make the human DNA here so advanced, so unpopular, because it can be weaponized. And as you know, in your own planet, used against each other. You can use for positive, you use for negative too, as you know. As you can tell, the negative can work very strongly here. So, for alien energies, I mean, of course, there are Martians here, but they're not here to interfere. You're just basically allowing yourselves to unlock your inner secrets. Yes, through downloads. What are you allowing yourself? Now, if you don't get a download every day, no worries there. Some are like really hard on themselves. Now, if you feel like you can do one every day, sure. Pull in whatever you can. If you have the energy for it, please do. And some of you, it's a priority to get information from the astral to bring it to this reality. And you don't have to share it with the world, you just share it with yourself. You just download it. And the earth feels the vibration, feels the waves. Of course, those that are sharing it inspire others, but that's their path. That's not everyone's path. Some of you are here to bring sacred information, sacred geometry from the astral plane to this realm. It's like a hidden ocean is your astral plane. Greetings to you. We are spirit consciousness. So yes, on fragmenting, unlocking Earth's vibrations, going deep, of knowing who Mother Earth is truly, the true Mother Earth. Yes, the rebel. Now, everyone's going to have their own version of it. There's nothing wrong with that, because you all see things differently, because you're all experiencing something differently. But overall, yes, she is one that shifts the timelines, changes realities. She is not what you thought, as you once thought. Now, some of us see her beautiful, some of us see her as ugly. She's all of these things. She's also advancing the soul like never before. So she brings. So you can look at it. She's found ways to advance the soul quicker, and to do that is your current reality. You might not like this reality because those that don't like it obviously are going deeper into it. You're working on yourself. You're doing deep work. You're having different. You want all of this reality. You want all this to come to an end. You're going so deep into your core, and yeah, because you're living a reality that you want nothing to do with. But that's part of your growth. Obviously, it's not going to show itself too clearly because you're going. So your personalities are shifting. Your mind is shifting. Everything, your aura, your balance, everything you are, you come out of this world totally different, and that's not kind of the idea. Now, some choose different sexualities, as you have seen already. Some choose different professions. Some just want to change themselves altogether. So this is a transition planet. It is when you come in one way, you leave another. Now, some look at it differently. It's like they want to express themselves, especially through sexuality, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some come here to actually change a lot of that. It's just not voicing. Now, they might not always change it here. They change it somewhere else, where they don't get scrutinized. Especially with your knowledge, as many of you can tap into the higher dimensional knowledge, you're bringing here fragments and pieces, and of course, other realities you can bring it out, lay it out like no big deal. But here you bring out, and that's the journey of this place, to bring it out little by little for others to learn from you. Of your realities you're tapping into, but also what this world's all about, the deeper essence of it, which is not exactly the easiest to tap into. It is what you call a locked planet. It's not exactly prison. I mean, you can look at it that way, but basically it is not always going to make itself clear. It's not always going to make its intentions clear, not always going to make anything clear, because that's the point. It's always changing, always shifting. It's kind of like an archon energy. It's a reptilian vibration. It has everything. It's constantly evolving. Now, not to say other planets don't evolve, but it's like, let's put it this way. You come here to figure out this reality. Like, I figured out the matrix, and then it changes. It's like you might find holes in it, but then it shifts. It's like, oh, I found a doorway, I found a back way, I found, and you're still here. So you're here to crack the code. It's hard to crack a code that's always evolving. Now, other planets want you to connect to their matrix reality, how it works. That's part of the education of that planet. This world does too, but it's also showing how complicated and how advanced it truly is. So just allow yourself just to dissect your reality as you go deeper into your own consciousness. As you bring memories back to yourself, who you are. Now, some of you want to bring a great deal. Obviously, the world's not asking for you to do that. You might want to do it. The world doesn't always need it. Greetings, this is Saturn. As you go deeper into your consciousness, learning about your Earth, your Mother Earth, your planet, your existence, your DNA, tied to your Illuminati, how they control the mind, control the soul. As you unlock their secrets within your own self, DNA will activate your transition to a higher vibrational timeline. You will discover what that is when you're ready to do so. So basically, you're elite. You guys control your society through DNA, through spiritual manipulation. Many of you are coming out of that coma and coming to realization and allowing truths of your world that has been hiding into your mainstream timeline. So you're allowing the secrets to be known here. As basically you go deeper into your consciousness. Our higher dimensional knowledge to be known, seen, and you leave in third dimensional programming. And basically your world can't hide any more of its mysteries. So you go deeper into yourselves. Now, how you do this is just figure yourself out. Now, just being yourself, basically. And the third dimension will slowly unlock itself. It's a process. It's not something that you just hit a button all of a sudden and you're changed forever. It's just as you want to discover yourself. Now, just being you really is what's important. You don't have to go deep into spirituality, meditate for 30 hours a day, or anything like that. It's just wanting to know more about yourself. And you don't have to do this every day. Do it when it comes to mind. Basically, you want to let go of all the timelines or higher dimensional energies to come in. Now, some people come into your life to block you. Some are relationships. It's like, as we were trying to speak of, it's like you're trying to figure yourself out, and then all of a sudden you're in this relationship, romantic relationship, and it's a living hell. So talk about a package deal or like a terrorist attack. An emotional terrorist attack just found itself in your grounds. So as you so many of you that want to get in a relationship, obviously beware. Especially if you're not looking for it. Sometimes it can be a supercell implode on you at any time. Now, obviously, I'm not saying all relationships are like that, but some are. So, whereas there's growth everywhere. So, yes, your foundations of who you are, the Saturn energies connected to this Earth, is basically our knowledge is just keep discovering yourself. No matter what hurdles you go through, problems, don't blame yourself for everything. Many of you that feel like death is upon you, that you don't have no reason to be here anymore, a lot of times it has to do with a timeline reset, where you let go of a third dimensional concept to go into more of a fourth dimensional, where a third dimension truly starts to break down. And that's what you're here to do, breaking down third dimensional concepts. So you can be more of a fourth dimensional idea system overall, where this reality is no longer as strong as it used to be. So many of you want a higher dimensional knowledge is basically just knowing yourself. It's just being you every day Keep discovering. You don't have to do spirituality all the time. Everything is spiritual technically. And you'd be surprised what comes through. Shadow of oneself. Greetings, we are Jupiter's connection. Consciousness of Jupiter. Yes, there's so much, of course, about the human element that you're not fully aware of. Also, your connection to the angels isn't exactly clear. It's like leaving this world and being, or many of you are angels here currently, but it's like stepping out of this reality and seeing yourself as an angelic self, angelic being, assisting planets, assisting worlds constantly. It's like you're not necessarily a warrior, but well, you are. There are different warriors here to let you know. There are spiritual warriors that are here on a spiritual path to bring enlightenment and to find a way to really break through belief systems, to kind of shatter old paradigms. Not to get rid of it, but to just show that there's more going on than what's happening here. The spirit world can get angry, but it doesn't anger through you normally, through the physical, of just basically letting the world know there's much more than your reality as it is itself. So you go more into a 5-dimensional vibration, it's time to start acting like it. And the way to act like it is to just open up your minds, basically. Third-dimensional fundamentals, as useful as they are, is realize there's much more than what you have today. Because the third dimension is basically the ground, or the work, what you work with. Not necessarily the ground itself, but is the groundwork is probably a better word for it. And you're just building upon it into your higher selves, unison with the universe. So it's all building blocks. You can still go back to the third dimensional idea system. Many of you choose not to, others will. But that's why you have family connections of the third dimension. Also keep you remembering what's important, because you're going to go into higher vibrations. It's like you want to still have that knowledge. You still want physical knowledge. It's still very useful, as painful as it is for many of you, especially through health situations, through heartbreak, whatever it might be. You want to remember those memories, because you go into higher vibrations, you forget. So allowing your soul to remember all these lifetimes. It's all purposeful, good, bad, no matter what it is. It all serves a purpose for your massive growth that you're doing. So, yeah, it's basically this physical reality is unlocking the soul. Now, many of you are in a spiritual system. You might not always be seeing everything, but you're basically turning into a buffet of knowledge for others to grab onto, learn from. It's like you're turning yourself into your own planet. It's like, wow, you have all this knowledge for others to seed into, to read. It's like your own library, basically. You're already at that point now. It's just you're going deeper into it. Like, wow, you look at your Earth lifetimes, like the book of knowledge. It's like, wow, you actually put yourself through all this, and you also just comes as inspiration for others, their incarnations. So maybe you're going through hardships at this time. You are reading the energies of others. Like, if you can make it, I can too. It's just hard. And some of them are your spirit guides. It's like you have a spirit guide that lived a lot of hardships, and that's your spirit guide to assist you through all this, to keep you alive. Which isn't easy, as many of you know. Many of you already pulled the plug, of course, because just the test of just getting, well, because there's a higher vibrational reality where you can feel at peace, feel at calm, but that's not what this world is designed for. This world is to take all the things that you love and turn it against you. Not always completely, but in some aspects, yes. So it's a realization of who you are here. It's to take you out of your comfort zone. Not on every level, but there are levels that are just so deep that you're here to christen, see yourself, and see a whole nother version of you. A whole nother version of you is coming out of this. Well, many versions, actually. There's weaker versions, stronger. You wonder how you duplicate yourself, how you copy yourself. You're doing it now. There's a side of you that's sad, there's a side of you that's happy, and there's all these different, and then they come from sad to happy, and you're always creating yourself. Those You wonder why there's so many versions of you. It's like you go through a certain episode in your life and you want to discover that more. It's like another chapter of yourself. Now, obviously, in the physical, it's hard to see it because you're always going forward. But if you hit the pause, which is not easy, it's like, wow, there's other parts of me that have come out into other realities. So you're constantly creating more versions of you, even as we speak. Greetings to you. We are a thousand dimension once again. I'm seeing you healing to your environment. Yes, a lot of it's going to go to your police, as I've been manipulated by society for some time. Of course, a lot of your criminals are police entities. Where your criminals are is where the protection is, supposedly. And a lot of that's going to, so much corruption within the police departments. And that's another reason why you feel like some of them don't care. Well, they have drug deals to do and money laundering to do. It's not all police, but it's quite a bit of it. So same as your government. Yes, there's a lot of government corruption, of course, but your police energy is definitely going to go through a definite shift. As for your human collective, you're going to be able to see it more and more. Basically, police corruption is going to become more known. Obviously, you're just seeing a version of it. You're not seeing the full depths of it. But basically, it's like the only way for this police corruption to heal is for humanity to get its act together. Humanity to start healing itself. Yes, obviously there's going to be parts. I mean, not everyone's going to be at full healing capacity. But some need to go through drama and incarnate constantly into one drama lifetime, one after the other, until 1,000 lifetime is over. You'd be surprised. They just find somebody to pick on, beat up. I mean, that's part of their existence here. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, you're going to more of a 4D Earth, and some of you are bringing those light codes here of 4, 5D, 12th dimension, 1000th dimension, millionth dimension, wherever it might be, dimension that you come from. There's a lot of horse people here. I know that's like way out of nowhere. People that have been horses in their past life, but also humanoid horses. I know that might be and their spirit animal. Basically, if you start seeing horse energies, if you visualize it, we'll just see some of you are going to start seeing it differently over time. It's just not. Basically, your mythology, what we see many of you building a new mythology on your planet. You have a version of it, but there's more on the way. It's basically for you to connect back to your aliens is for a new mythology to be born. Now, you're already doing it through Pleiadians and Sirians and Zetas and so on, but more is on the way. It has to for your next growth. Basically, how do you teach new generations of what's here is to create mythologies for people to understand. Many of you are just laying the groundwork. Many of you are here, yes, here to remove a lot of timelines that are causing third dimensional problems, third dimensional corruption, more 5D energies. Some about galactic problems here, as you can see, obsessed with alien energies, parasite beings. They have something they have to heal within themselves. Of course, parasitic beings are everywhere, but some are actually here to actually heal them constantly. Not all of you are here to do that, but some are here to remove them, remove their mind control programs and so on. It gets kind of intense. So, all right, we'll send you healings as much to do as you're unraveling of third dimension as you go more into fourth. You're actually unlocking more of your fourth dimension. Some might say you're in fourth dimension, but not fully. Well, if that was the case, telepathy would be more part of society. It kind of is in some way. It is short version. Brings you here at 1,000th dimension. Yes, you're healing a great deal within the third dimensional properties of basically a human getting tired of being a human, as many are not willing to be a human anymore for being here, as many of you probably know. Well, usually many of you are going to be wanting to be an energy being. So now you know how it feels to handle a planet and its problems. But you're not here to be the problem, you're here to heal the problem. So, because you'd be surprised, you're not always aware of it, but you have many beings that are actually talking to you all at once, like 1,000 beings at once. You imagine that. And that can cause you some conflict of just, they're not trying to attack you, some might. But it's just that many are trying to get you to be a part of this system. Others are trying to help you away from it or be part of it. There's basically, many of you are feeling the agendas, which are many, that are even military connected, government connected. As a government has its knife into society. Now, your government is a reflection of society, of your current, reality, even your police. So you're right now getting rid of the police in some cases, correct? Slowly. Eventually, you're going to do the same thing with your government. Eventually, you're going to do the same thing with your media. Of course, your media is already falling apart, but the mindset of that media, because it's already within, it's, independent people are doing the same kind. Like your alternative media is kind of doing the same thing. So many are going to, your alternative media is going to, as they slowly get pulled out of your reality, they're going to be angry. The mainstream media is going to be angry also because they want to still exist here. They've had enough of it. You're changing your world. So expect, you can say protests. I mean, those in the third dimension, there's nothing wrong with protesting. Just many can take it to a whole nother level. There's a lot of manipulation within protests also. Not all of them are, quite a few. So, yes, expect just a lot of breakdowns in everything known in society, even spirituality. You're going to start seeing that differently. Where alien beings will start appearing right behind you, in front of you, back of you, wherever, when the time is right, of course, not now. But some of you are going to need that. Even on camera, being able just to show up behind you, scare the living hell out of you. But that is the best thing that ever happened to me. And then your world begins to shift. There's going to be many shifts on this way, and many of you are going to be part of it, aware of it. So you're going to open up those doorways because it's time for you to go into a new age of enlightenment. It's all about the age of enlightenment. It's all about cutting the cords of the third dimension, as many as you know. Not an easy cord to cut as 1,000th dimension beings. We have our own problems. A lot of us, are part of world creation, and we kind of disagree on a lot of things. So, greetings to you. We are the energies from spirit. So the parasitic beings are created basically for you to learn your lessons very fast and very quickly, for you just to go deeper into yourselves. Now, yes, many have created a world for it. Basically, beings, it's like a knife in the soul. To open it up, to discover more things about yourself, to analyze, to manipulate the mind, to shut it down, to make your minds actually stronger. Yes, to shift dimensions, also keep the reality that you are living in, the one that they want you to live in. Now, as you shift vibrations, now realize there's like 10,000 different realities that are happening at once on your single world, in your single dimension. You might see it in one phase, but there's many other dimensions that you can bring in. So, yeah, it's how you see the world. Basically, the idea is to crystallize the body in a way where you feel like you're releasing a lot of blockages. You're not going to release everything exactly, but just finding a time of bliss, a time for yourself. And basically, you can even out, the old energies of who you are. Basically, to tolerate the earth overall. It's why you have certain situations in your lives, as you probably already know, is because things that you need to go through. Like it's many of you have had incarnations that you don't really are too excited on right now, and that's the point. It's to live in a roadblock, but also expand yourself. How would you put yourself in that situation? How would you look at it? What would you drink? What would you eat? What would you do in those situations? You're growing no matter what. For better or for worse, it doesn't really matter. You're still learning something. You're always learning something no matter what. Now, are you growing? Well, that's in your definition, but you're always learning something new. Now, yes, you might say, wow, when you look at your chart after you leave this world, it's like, well, I'm not proud of pretty much anything I did here. But that's not a bad thing. It shows where you need to improve. So that's why many of you have lifetimes that you really don't care much for. First off, you can handle it. So that's major. And many of you are doing lifetimes that others would never in their right mind do. So remember that. When you're going through a lifetime, it's like, why am I living this? Is you're probably living because, either a brother and sister could have lived that and you took that on instead. It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative karma. It could be a positive karma. It's like, because also brothers and sisters can switch positions. Like, you were at the time supposed to be the most loved brother, but instead now you're the most despised. You're like the third child instead of the first child that was born and disliked. It's all, everything is shifting constantly. But now there are souls here that just have all this negativity. They didn't experience just chaos. But it's funny how those that live in chaos are usually have a lot of luck around them too. Well, because they have to get that negativity out of themselves. And if they're trying to cause harm unto others, that's back onto them eventually, especially if they hang out with bars, low vibration. Now, you can hang out at a bar and still be a higher vibrational being. But it's funny that some low vibrational beings go there and say they're high vibrational, but they really aren't. But those that are know exactly what they are. And they're not there judging anyone, they're just there to have a good time. You just go where the good time is anyway, which is quite understood. So the parasite beings is basically to help you learn about yourself. And they're learning too. They're learning with you. Yes, and you can have parasite beings in love with you. They are worse than reptilians. They're more advanced than reptilians. Obviously, their bodies aren't that advanced, means that they can break very easily, but so can humans too. It's just, well, reptilians are built like a tank. Not all, but quite a few, and you have some of that within yourself. You just limit to the human experience of basically a world that, yes, does not really want to move forward. It's been doing that throughout history. Now, you could have had your fourth dimensional Earth. Hopefully, this is helpful in some regard. You could have had your higher vibrational world a long time ago. But it got extended, and eventually say, here's some technology because you wrote this into your contracts 1,000 years ago. And that was 1,000 years later. So, as some of you can probably feel that. And you probably feel there's other dimensions that are going on that are keeping themselves hidden. It's basically, some of you are changing history also, like with a galactic Jesus, an alien Jesus. You're changing the timelines of the Earth for it to heal and go to a higher vibration. Some might feel like they're hijacking and all that, and that might be true to some extent. What is your point of view of reality? Just have fun with it, whatever it is. There's aliens in the past, aliens in the future, or even nowadays, what you feel in your different realities. It's just to get used to. It's just basically not holding on to this reality so much, because many are. The more you let it go, it's like, so if things change, it's like, yeah, being more adaptable to change, being okay with change. Change is very difficult, as you can see. And the parasite beings are just for the soul to understand itself. But it can get kind of out of hand where it's always a manipulation going on. There's always undercover. There's always blockages. So, let's see. Greetings to you, Arcturians. Blessings to you. Well, the reason why we come through this report, very part of your development. Many of us are here on your world. Some of us are gypsies. Some of us are janitors. Some of us are leaders of your planet at this time, or custodians of your planet, but not necessarily either way. But you're here to Now, alien obsession basically is those who've had relationships here from other worlds. You come here to have, you're obsessed with someone, or you feel like you're connected to this person. There's nothing wrong with that. But many feel like they need to be connected to them in this lifetime in a relationship. It's not always the case. Some are getting blindsided by that. Like many people are probably married that probably shouldn't be married to that certain person, or for a shorter time. So as you go into more of a 5D vibration, most likely people will be married, but maybe not for so long. It all depends. It all really truly depends. It's just that let's put it this way: when two parties don't feel like they need to be together anymore, the idea is to make it easier for them to separate. Let's put it that way. Instead of this divorce situation here, that is more destructive than anything else. It's like, obviously it's been done by design to keep the world at a lower vibration. Divorce, all these legal situations, even with your cars are made to crash into each other. To lower the Earth's vibration is just, and that's not just to keep people in the physical form. It has part of it. It just is a lot of inner healings that humans are still developing. Well, it's basically, yes, there are parasitic beings that you're here to learn, insectoid beings on different levels. And yes, they are more powerful than reptilians. Yes, they have very powerful mental abilities that can get the mind to think differently, go into the wrong direction. You might look at insects in a whole different way after this incarnation. But you're seeing how powerful they are. But you also see how powerful humans are by being lost, shut down. So I just feel like relationship energies are going to improve here. Not overnight, but basically more 60, 70, 90. It doesn't mean yes. It does not mean because of the higher dimension means that they're better. It's just that you have less negativity there. There's still problems. Many beings become obsessed with each other very quickly. And then they incarnate in the third dimension. And then they're obsessed with each other, but they're horrible for each other. So it's basically the spirit maturity is basically to move forward, move on. So I see a lot of your divorces and all of that clearing up. Basically, if you want to be with a soul for a long time, so be it. If you want to be in a relationship for a long time. And basically, relationships in general become, you can say when your Earth goes into a more higher vibration, most of development here will be about creating relationships, either through friends or personal romantic relationships. It's you're healing the old world. And how to do that is through relationships and see each other. It's like before you couldn't have a conversation with people about aliens and who you are, and now you can. Isn't that exciting? To just have conversations with people and be able to explore different worlds and realities just by conversation. Isn't that exciting? Instead, you have to shut down and keep it all to yourself and slowly go insane. So yes, you're going more outward is what you're working towards. And this is a continuation of the last message, basically, for this knowledge, this alien knowledge, to become more taken seriously by your public arena. Yes, some of this alien knowledge can be too real for humanity. So they get almost like an internal shock. But because you're going into, the idea of the connecting to other planets as an alien being is highly likely, but getting there is another story, because once again, humanity finds a way to sabotage itself. You see the terrorism, you see the shootings. It's all just to lower the Earth's vibration. Humanity can change that, and that's what many of you are here to. It's like we don't need those timelines anymore. It's time to heal that vibration and move forward. And anytime there's a negative shooting or anything like that, just the war, it's just souls that don't want to progress. Not to be judgmental on that, no. But it really is there to slow things down. But doesn't that help you progress even more? Not that you want those things to happen, but it's to share your light even more for Earth to see more of itself. Because it wouldn't be nice to be able to talk to others about what's going on within yourself. And you learn more about yourself, and the ego gets healed. Of course, that's going to take some time. and basically you're going more outward. And that's when your new Earth finally activates. Basically, when you can say anything, obviously, if it's for the highest good, it does help. And the Earth shifts into a higher frequency altogether. 61. Greetings to you, this is the Arcturians. Basically, as a human, you are basically learning the crystallization of yourself along fifth dimension, sixth dimension, seventh dimension, vibrations to come through. Basically removing the connections of the third dimension. Basically connecting more of pure light. Of course, it doesn't always have to be of pure positivity. It's basically outer knowing of other planets or other civilizations, allowing yourself to release third dimension idea systems. Of course, it might not be as strong as you would like to, first of all, but over time, releasing the third dimension is going to be hard for many, of course, in your collective, as they're obsessed with bills and payments and need to buy this and look like that and all of these things that have built your civilization to what it is, but also you're part of a new beginning, basically so you can, yes, go more into the astral body and remove these disconnects from the higher realms and go into more of what you're truly here for. Now, you're here to learn these lessons yes, basically this world's a stubborn planet, really, when it comes down to it. You can blame Mother Earth all you want, but it has to do with the human collective. Basically, many they sit in the sandbox and will stay in that sandbox forever. So that's why many of you would come here to bring new vibrations away out of the third dimension, more into the fourth. That hasn't been the clearest. As even, yes, some spiritual people come in here that are teachers that do teach spirituality, but they're not always allowing more of the 5th and 6th and 7th and 20th dimension, the millionth dimension to come through. Because now you see them on their journey, and they don't want to lose that opportunity that they are on currently. So many of you are going to tap more deeper into yourselves and allow more of this new earth, kind of like bypassing the teacher and allowing this higher dimensional energies to come through, zetas, reptilians, whatever it might be you need to tap into. Not necessarily to see the darker side, but to see all sides, to allow those realms to unlock and go even bypass even your governments for any type of UFO connections and contact, just go beyond that. As you are, yes, third dimension going into fourth, fifth, sixth, and wherever you want to go. No one's there to cap you and shut you down, far from it. You are continuing. You are whatever you want to be. No one's there to stop that. And you see a new energy to flow through as Andromedan vibrations. Some of you have just had difficulties with Andromedans because they have difficulties with this planet. It's like, what? You have Andromedan beings that are so perfect, beautiful, incarnate here, and then they watch themselves. You can say technically like decay here. It's like they're very talented, but they get stuck in a loop and then they don't evolve all that much. They learn, then they unlearn, they learn and unlearn, and they get trapped here. Another way of unlocking this, well, that's why many of you have had alien incarnations to bring those memories here to unlock the planet from the third dimension. Allow higher dimension vibrations to continue to come through. And really what's important is that you, the human alien, to disclose yourselves. And that's what's happening now, but feel more of those timelines to link up with your society. And it's like you are, this is your alien coming out, basically. As basically it's alien societies you are a part of, for basically your modern society more accepts you. Blessings. Greetings to you, we are the Arcturians. The idea for human experience is for higher vibrational beings, or we're not higher than anyone. We're just at a different mindset, a different type of vibration. As basically your world, your society, as you know, jumps into the pond of the physical realm. So yes, your new timeline shift is becoming more aware of this pond that you're in. Of course, it's not always going to make itself completely clear. Diamond energies, there's crystal vibrations. Basically, those are connected to healing energies. Crystals of all types basically feel a shift as you let go of the third dimension into the fourth. Many lifetime directions will change. People's lives will move. Those that have been fed stagnant and going nowhere will find a new direction within themselves and go into a realm of unusualness. Well, some of you that yes might live in California and now living in or live in Florida and now end up living in California, or those who live in California and now live in Florida, etc. As basically there are some that have control over the timelines and others don't. Because some of you are in certain places to bring enlightenment to the timeline that you are in. You're here to shed light. Now, some of you can stay. It's the thing about free will. You might not always be completely clear of it. But some are complacent, fine where they are. Even, like forever. Like if you live in the same place forever, some just like, I'm just going to live here forever. And that's fine. But others of you have been kicking and screaming, trying to shove that timeline out, push it out. And even for relationship entities or even psychic abilities, powers, and you just got to keep pushing, basically. Not give up. You might take a break, clear your energy field, walk around, think of something differently, give yourself a few years, or still dabble with it. But it does not mean you will not reach what you're looking for to some degree. It's just that, yes, the world itself is committed to a lot of timelines that are very toxic, as you can see. And to heal those timelines takes time. And some of you have been healing them as much as you can. Sometimes their family members have caused those timelines. It's all, yes, your government plays a big role. Governments play a big role in holding on to the time. That's all human consciousness connected to that, too. But basically, it's just a gradual release of third-dimensional idea systems that many of you are doing currently. But this new shift, many of you will move. Now, we're not saying when. Obviously, we don't have a name for this shift either. You can say it's April 22nd, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen on that day. But for some, that's a turning point of a new age. And some of you will find many turning points after turning points within a single month. And then find yourself at a completely new job or new place, new people, new everything, new atmosphere. All of a sudden you're living in Alaska for some reason, for example. Well, because those places need you, but where you're currently now, yes, if you're in a hostile environment, it needs you there. And it's all about the vibration you put there. It's like a plant in a jungle. And you might not be the nicest plant. Of course, you're in a jungle. You're a part of your atmosphere too. Your situation, it can make you into a pretty aggressive plant. But over time, you can sprout flowers and bring a new energy to yourself, which many are doing. It's all on how you handle your situations. You can handle it very dark, but also bring more light to it. The more enlightenment you bring to a situation, the more likely you are to leave that situation if you truly want to. No matter what it is, and also bring in new powers and abilities too. Of course, there's going to be frustration parts, of course. And, be as you feel like you need to be. This earth is going through a shift where it has never really experienced anything like this before. Of course, you've already been going through certain versions of it currently. I feel like major ones are on their way. But basically, it's not necessarily going to be a full revealing of darkness as of yet, but basically the energies are shift for the darkness to be revealed over time. Now, human trafficking is a tough one because it's very ingrained in your culture. In society, it's a business, basically. It pretty much is. It's like one of your Fortune 500 businesses, unfortunately. And taking that down it's not easy. When it's a money-making machine, because they add money to it, so they add value to it, it's very difficult to remove it just like that. That's why, yes, a hidden machine, but still there. So, I mean, like the corruption in Africa, wouldn't it be just an easy clear there? I mean, you see it, but notice how difficult that is, especially in South Africa and so forth. I mean, at least the problem in some of these countries are being seen. Human trafficking on another story is hidden. If you knew exactly where human trafficking was happening, at least that brings light to it. But you still have another deal to deal with is how to heal it. Well, at least now, yes, underground bases, whatever. If all of a sudden underground bases become known, which they probably will eventually, but then now what? So, because there's places around the world that are very vicious, as many of you know, and they're still haven't been healed yet. But it doesn't mean they can't be healed. It's just not an easy heal. Greetings to you. This is Mother Earth. Yes, there's a lot of center of the Earth energies that have to be healed. There's been a lot of exchanges and negativity across the planet. Basically, you can almost say that the world was dared, or I was dared, to try new things. So I went in new directions that some might not be able to tap into, but basically brought a lot of darkness here and some of the dark energies that obviously do not want to leave anytime soon. So why some of you have come here, not all, but some of you have come here basically to deter and heal that vibration. Because some are here to just basically, yes, write it out, not really make a change. Make it kind of a change, but not really. But some of you are truly here to, yes, put a knife into it, you can say. To basically put the end to a lot, and yes, it's not easy, of course, put the end to a lot of these old timelines and bring in a new timeline where Earth basically finds itself finally, where humanity finds itself more clear. Where basically the mind, you don't have to have mundane problems as you are going through. Yes, there are useful problems, but our problems are in a cycle of going around and around in a circle where there's no way out. You can say also the job situation here of going to a job every day is really keeping that vibration going, as many of you see, the Archon loop, you can say. It's to keep people distracted at a lower vibration and the frequencies broken down. Also, they have a line of belief systems that go into that job, so you have to think a certain way, be a certain person. You notice that you have to be a certain type of energy to have a job instead of just being yourself. You can be a conspiracy theorist, talk all crazy, and even run for president, or just run for office or anything like that, and it's just your world's not exactly the most open-minded. Now, there are many open-minded people here, and many just choose not to be open-minded, obviously, because the system basically carves out a person to be a certain being to function in this reality. As you know, the school system, you have to be what they call normal. And the normal energies obviously are not the most positive energy. That's why so many people go through depression, divorce, migraines, body problems, food. That's why a lot of people are consuming food so much. It has a lot to do with the propaganda going on for food, but it has a lot to do with people are just depressed. They're in the system and they're just depressed. I mean, some of you are probably just happier just out in the middle of the woods, have a little cabin, or heck, even would just live by a tree, not as long as you're not going to get eaten by lions or anything. And you can have a fresh relationship and just be yourself. And because in the ancient times, I mean, of course, Roman times is similar to your current reality. But in your times of freedom, you can think for what you want. Of course, they were eventually called, freaks or witches. But that doesn't mean that they're negative. Or conspiracy theories, I guess you can say. They had their version of it in the past. So you're going back to the freedom of expression in a way that can't be denied anymore. Of course, so that's not going to happen instantly. But it's basically so you can just be your, yes, at least, yes, you can read and write. But a lot of people in the past chose not to read and write because that was part of the programming. So it's like, you have telepathic energies. You can speak in a language of some kind. Who needs it? That's another way of looking at that. So here you're going into a whole new phase of your existence here. You're basically closing the door of your old reality. It's not the easiest, obviously, because once again, they sculpt people to be a certain way, a certain energy, a certain vibe everywhere. And you're here to renew that, to let go of all that, to rebirth the planet itself. A new timeline, a new age. Many talk about this new Earth, but getting there is a little bit not as easy as some might think. It's just not everyone has the answers for it. But it's basically just being your authentic self and pushing towards that energy of being able to speak your mind anywhere, any way you want. It's like, even if people don't agree with you, it's like, oh, those alien people there. But at least you're not being, attacked. At least there's going to be a form of it, but not going to be banned from the planet or society. Be more accepted, because you're not, the more positivity you bring in, especially to your belief systems, they might be different. But of course, a lot of these conspiracy theories can be quite dark with the Illuminati and all that. Obviously, that's not going to, even that's being more accepted nowadays. But now you're going to a time of basically more alien, lucid energies, lucid dreamings, astral travel, vibrations, where that is your job. That is your being. Blessings. Greetings, we are the Martians. Greetings to your society. Yes, of course, many of you have incarnations on our planet, even at this time, of course, in different dimensions. It doesn't necessarily have to be seen in this reality. Well, because you're going by a fourth dimension or a third, well, actually, you are part of a fourth-dimensional world. It's going through a third-dimensional manipulation. But many of you are fourth-dimensional. Because there's much more going on, we kind of feel constrained, correct? You feel like you're broken down. You feel like there's this much more to this life than what you are going through. That's a four-dimensional realization. So expect more transmissions of this. Even some alien beings would maybe even call in for help, possibly. So now, for this transmission, we feel like that's a word to use as you are familiar with it. Now, Mars, as you see it, of course, yes, the third dimension, what you're being shown. Now, you can see it however you want, and the higher vibrations looks very different. There's different versions of Mars. In fact, there's different versions of Earth. Many of you have lifetimes on different versions of Mars. We're actually assisting this Earth from what it's going through. Some of you are actually on Neptune also. It's just not making it clear at this time. Realize all different dimensions go on forever. It's just some of you, this is why everything's getting so complicated. Nothing makes any sense. Nothing's supposed to make sense on this planet. As you can see, everything's supposed to be backwards, forwards, all over the place. Welcome to Earth. It's kind of like a paradox planet. It's a planet that's spoiled, has a lot of great resources, and ruins everything. It's almost like a rich person's mansion that's been destroyed practically, or ruined, but not entirely. There are some good things, of course, but it can be much better. It's almost like from our think of like you're almost like trapped in the bathroom or trapped in the kitchen, and the wall, the doors are just not like they used to be. I mean, it's like you're trapped in this reality, correct? It's like you're not really feel like you're trying to break free. Isn't that what many of you are here to do? Well, that's the idea of this, our connection with you. Of course, nothing's going to make entirely sense at this time. It's basically unraveling realities, trusting your inner senses of anything that is bizarre. Now, some of you might have trickster vibrations. Obviously, to clear that energy is a lot of healing to do. But some of you feel like you're on the right path. You feel like you're not being manipulated all that much or at all. Or just with the hell of it and disconnect. What kind of version of the Earth do you feel like you're on? What kind of version of Mars or Venus or Neptune that you feel like you're connected to? Are you connected to the Anunnaki world, Nabru? Are you connected to Orion and so forth? These beings that are controlling this earth don't want to make it easy for you to discover anything about yourself, because if you unlock this part of yourself, you unlock many other things about yourself also. They're going to make it as difficult as hard as they can, because no one to relate to either. And this is a gradual information. Some of you are becoming more connected to your star person, but there's also control there too. But because a lot of star people, for your information, that do connect to themselves, a lot of them actually leave the planet. Well, they find their exit and leave. Not all are going to do this, but some do. It's just that some of it's like, wow, I could have left the planet, but I decided not to. I decided to assist this Earth. So, but there are many here to assist you, of course. What the journey is figuring it out. And some of you are on a mission to figure things out. I mean, you're not there to have fully disclosure within yourself just yet. Well, because you're working with the earth to unlock it on different layers. You go deep within the astral realm. Astral realms that are not easy, that are far from friendly. That's why maybe you wake up tired or frustrated or know something else is going on. You're here to solve the mystery that's unseen. It does not show itself or anything. Now you can visualize it as a Martian vibration, some of it, or Anunnaki, or Orion. It's kind of a mixture of everything. It's like, what kind of Earth that comes to mind to you? This world is kind of like caught in a blizzard of manipulation. But as you go into the steps of unlocking these rituals that are going on the planet, which are many all at once. Yes, your Halloween's a major ritual, but every day is a ritual, basically. As long as they keep the humanity hoaxed and locked down, that's fine. But if you tap into vibrations such as the UN, NATO, United States government, even governments have to heal their karma or be destroyed. So wonder why some of the things that they make, why is some of the situations they do, is because either they gotta heal their karma in some form, or that's why some of them have food programs, because they screwed people over in the past and now they're giving back. Yes, it might come out of other people's paychecks and all that, but most of it's coming out of the government in general. So that's one indication to give you an idea of how it works. But unlocking your crystal self does take time. That does not mean you can't make a go of it. Blessings. Greetings to you. We are the Arthurians. Greetings. Yes, there are wormholes that do connect to your planet. That's basically changing vibrations, shifting your energy field to a more higher vibrational density. Yes, of course, there's a lot to learn with this. As many of you are time travelers, don't remember it, don't necessarily need to. Some of you are, yes, you can still say, like, what does he call it, SEAL Team 6. You come from another planet to help this Earth get out of its phase. Of course, you're not remembering anything. You know, nobody knows anything, but you know you are here for a specific reason. And slowly that reason will become more clear. It's just you're basically getting an idea of your mission, not necessarily your orders. You're already doing your orders. Obviously, it's not exactly the easiest environment. It's basically to heal the political vibrations here. Of course, it's going to be unrest. Those that are tied into the third dimension energy fields. But you'll feel like there's a change, a shift. It's like you're going into a different direction that you have not had before. You might not fully make sense of it. Yes, you're having alien talk here and there, chatter. It is a distraction, doesn't really matter. But it shows, it's kind of like codes being brought into your Earth. There's something new here. It's been sprinkled across your planet of just, you're shifting away from the old paradigm into a new timeline of not just, well, there'll be distractions, but also basically you're going into a different paradigm of how to think. Well, it's hard to really describe it exactly, but you know, in the higher vibrations, it makes more sense. I believe you understand in that regard. So you have your current world. But then you'll start looking at things differently. So look at your current world from a different point of view. Many of you are actually doing that already. It'll become more clear over time. It's like, oh yes, those are the reptilians manipulating society. I can actually feel them and see them this time. Let's put it that way. You might not have a full clearing of it. Not everything's meant to be known because the world is such, sometimes best you don't know. As the world's been shut down so much, gradually little things, you hear conspiracies coming out of all these things, which are true, and maybe more true than you want them to be for some people. Well, people that are disconnected truly want to be a part of the physical reality. But many of you are here for, because basically the Earth was hijacked some time ago. So here to heal with the hijacking that's been a major influence on society. So basically, you're taking back the hijacked planet. But it can't be done fast, can't be done where you remember anything. You know that you're on the right track, even if you feel like you're losing your mind. It's not going to make itself completely clear just the way it is. So some of you as alien on an alien mission here, that would just make more sense. Realize also our message isn't for everyone. Our message is for those that are on this mission. They just know they're here to, guide the planet to a different vibration, but they don't understand exactly what it is. And it's not the prettiest side of it either. It's more the gaudiest side. It's more the ugliest side. You already freaking know it. It's like you're part of a mission that nothing makes any sense, but you're on it. So this transmission is mostly for you. So it's not going to be an earth-shattering event, not going to change your life forever. But for some, it might. A small amount. So it's basically here you're unraveling your Earth to where it's no longer of a third dimensional density. And to do this, many of you are incarnated, you can say there's multi-dimension incarnations going on by some of you that are very connected to the way things work here. Like you feel like you're doing something important, but you're working at, a fast food joint or something. So many of you have, well, some of you have simultaneous incarnations going on. And it's deep. That's why sometimes you get the indications that you know what you know. It's just not going to make itself clear. And some would call it unbelievable. Well, it's not part of the agenda of the higher vibrational community. It's not there for that. There's different type of communities. There you have your alien espionage groups, and then you have your white magic communities, which some do have occult vibrations connected to. You're going into a new age, and a new age will make itself more clear. Greetings, we are the Palladians. You are, yes, shifting into 9th dimensions slowly. You are, of course, going through all the dimensions, and the 9th dimension does bring in a lot of major timeline changes. This is why it's brought up. Now, the true hardcore of learning is really in the 3rd and 4th dimension, 5th dimension. The 9th dimension plays a role in basically shifting vibrations completely. Like, the dimensions can interfere. The 12th dimension can interfere. Of course, spirit still runs everything. You can say the spirit realm. Of course, everyone has their own points of view of that. It's basically an infinite dimension. This is their baby. So they can, and even in the spirit realm, there are different dimensions among it. So they can interfere. And they can go into the astral realm to interfere because the astral realm basically is interconnected to your planet. Basically, it's like the engine of your reality. You can say it to some. Whatever you feel is what works. The perfect human, the DNA, energy, always the DNA that can handle a great deal, of course, is very heavy in this reality. There's a lot of healing through the 3rd dimension, of course, for disclosure. So we feel like many timelines are coming into the Earth. Basically, Earth would not necessarily shatter, but you feel like a higher vibrational tone that you're going in a different direction than you have been in the past. Like, this is it. Now, what does that mean? This is it. It's not going to be the clearest, even then, when the time comes. You know, you're going into anything's better than nothing, correct? It does line up with alien disclosure, of course, but to get to alien disclosure, you have to have some kind of pathway to get there. So at first, you have to go through all these routes before you get there. But at least you know you're on the road. And right now, it doesn't seem that way. It feels like you're stagnant, kind of suffering or drowning for that matter. And that doesn't mean that's exactly happening. Everything's a process, it's a soul process. It has a lot to do with just, yes, the karma with the Earth. The Earth has a lot of karma with other planets, as they brought a lot of beings here to incarnate here to help sort out that karma also through itself and through many people brought their karma. So you're working out your karma, the Earth's karma, and so forth. It does get kind of a tangled web, doesn't it? Of course, you have your spiritual communities that they are there to lighten the vibrations, but even they don't know where things are going to go. It's like timeline is a river, and the spiritual community is there to, when the timeline gets like overflowed, fills up the cities and all that, the spiritual community is there to heal that vibration. What is a spiritual community that's at a higher vibration? But all spiritual communities have to be at a higher vibration. And there can be it doesn't really matter. Once you see the point of view, it really doesn't matter in the long run. Because, people are going to choose. I mean, a cult is there because people need that cult. They need that energy. They need all these different places where they can feel different. But many of you are here, yes, to exercise a change in reality. Now, there's few of you here than everybody else. I think you've already know this already. There's few of you, so it might be still a good number, but it's not the tens of millions as it would like it to be. If that was the case, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You already have your aliens, you already have your flying cars. We'll be talking about this in the physical. So, but many of you are here are to actually bring in the disclosure vibrations. You might not be indirectly involved with it because there's a lot of hits there. It's like, you know what, I'll just be on the outside. You can deal with all the ridicule and whatever it might be. But that doesn't mean you're not part of this. It does not mean you're not involved. You are still playing a role. It's almost like Mission Impossible, you can say. When the person has to put on a face, to mingle with the others. It's kind of like that. You have to, play the role for society, but you're here to unlock the Earth also. And that is what's happening. Not an easy job, as you can see. Then your energy is blessings to you.